It really is quite a defensive core.
It's a lot of who are these people? Yeah. Shillington out, and you just got to see another layer of the depth.
Hochik? Who's
Okatokes?
Who is this? I said, yeah, I don't even really know. They traded for him too. I don't really know what to tell you. What do we think of Pahal?
A waiver guy. He remains.
I just moving forward.
Yep. I think he's a 7-8.
Yeah. Do we like him?
Same for Hanley. I think the same for Denis Gilbert. I think all those guys are 7-8s.
I was hoping for more.
I have him ahead of Hanley.
And Gilbert?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he could be your 6 if you're not great. I mean, they had him and Shillington playing together for a bit. That could be a third pair, but the problem is they don't have a second pair.
What do we think of Miromanov?
I think that guy might actually be a 4 or 5.
Okay. I think you're crazy.
He's had decent results. There's some offense
but he's playing 23 minutes a night or whatever it is.
Well, this is my whole point. If he's slotted properly, that's going to come down to 16 to 18 minutes.
I don't think that helps his production, which is what you're saying is so good.
No, I just think like he's going to look more exposed now with all the minutes he's playing.
It cuts both ways. I don't know.
I'm
not against him. I
think if what you really have is 2 NHL top 4 defensemen in Weegar and Anderson, and a bunch of guys that might be best suited on a third pair, like a lot of them.
But I don't.
7, 8,
that's where I'll argue it.
Yeah.
Is that yes, he's probably not good enough, but he's not a third pair defenseman.
I don't know. I mean, look, he's more of a Marc-Andre Bergeron type, where it's like, come work on power play 2. We'll give you soft minutes, and you don't have to be big and heavy to be a third pair guy.
Bergeron have like 50 points one year?
Well, I'm just saying like smaller and skilled on a third pair is what people don't have in their heads. And he's not small, but he is skilled.
Answer anymore. You always do it. It's not about big and slow or tall or short. No one gives a shit about small.
Well, then why is he not a third pair guy? What about Miromanov says he can't be a third pair guy?
Because I don't think he plays like a third pair guy.
How does a third pair guy play?
Well, usually in a shutdown rule, limited ice time. He's having production because he's playing 23 minutes. If you cut his ice time down to 13 minutes, you and I both know that the less you play, the harder it is to fucking play.
Yeah, I mean, it's both. Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes
Say it. I'm right.
I think he's a third pair guy. Sorry. Maybe he's a 4. I just don't know who you're playing him with. I don't even know what Shillington is. Is Shillington a second pair guy? Without Tanev, I don't know that he is.
I'll take Shillington over Miromanov.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I would say there's a gap there.
Yeah.
From Miromanov to Shillington.
And I would say there's a gap from Miromanov to the rest of that slop. I think all those other guys are waiver caliber. Hanley, Gilbert, Ahochik, You
don't think Miromanov's waiver fodder?
No, I think Vegas didn't put him on waivers for a reason. He didn't play this year rather than them risk him going to the A to play and get lost on waivers.
Okay. The reason I brought it up is just because we got a chat. You saw Hochik and Pahal and Miromanov, and you take that step back. It's like, wow, this is while we're talking about how good is Wolf. Well, how good are the guys in front of Wolf or any, what kind of chances are you giving up? You heard Kent talk about expected goals. Well, yeah, those numbers are going to be high.
Yep.
Just with the number of
bad defensemen.
Lower caliber defensemen that you have out there, and just who is of this group, who is coming back, who do you would have interest in coming back? We know that Hanley's got a contract for next year, as does Miromanov, but I don't know. I feel like I'd rather keep Pahal around than Hanley, even though Hanley's got the deal. And I don't know. I still don't know what to think about
the minors. I mean,
what's that song? Who are we? Who?
I wanna know.
Who are you?
That's the
all I really want to know. Buy a program.
No, there was an afterburner like a week or so ago, and it was like, gosh, they have so many D. It's like they don't have so many NHL defensemen. They have so many guys that really want to be the 6-7 in the league. They've got like 6 of them.
I would trust that the guys you have not seen are going to be much better than the guys you're watching right now.
In terms of like kids in the system or... Yeah, I don't think for next year. I don't see anyone knocking.
I don't care. Yeah, and I'm not saying next year immediately. But down the road, I do. And only because you can't be. I don't want to rail on guys. These guys are not good. So Hunter Brustevich,
yeah.
Don't hurt yourself.
He's going to be better than Joel Hanley.
Yeah, and he just needs a couple of years. I agree with you. I think Poirier's got a higher ceiling than a lot of these cats as well. You know, they really like Grushnikov, adding him in that deal. I still think he's the type of guy like Paul you find on waivers every year. But yeah, your high ceiling guys aren't on the roster. They're in the minors or in junior. Etienne Morin just got sent to the Wranglers from Moncton. There's another guy with a high ceiling. They're not here yet. So what you have is patchwork, waiver claim caliber defensemen, like 4 of them.
That is, and you brought it up yesterday, Retro, when you were talking about the draft, about best player available, position of need, that sort of thing. When you look, when on the right side, Miromanov is number 2. Now, again, I don't see Shillington's. Well, I guess Shillington's on them. He's going to need a contract.
Left side there.
It's not a cupboard that's overflowing.
No, they need D
quality.
And Anderson's only got 2 years left on his deal, and Uyghur's already on the wrong side of 30. Like, they need desperately a blue chip defenseman or 2 to draft in the next few years. It's the greatest need in the organization, maybe outside of number 1 center. That's it.
And it's no coincidence, probably, that when you look at the trades that were made, Brustevich, Miromanov,
in every deal, yeah,
there was a D in every deal, and you can't. There's only so much you can do there. You're at the mercy of what's available with the team you're dealing with and what they're going to give you in a trade. But you're gathering a bunch of them. Are any of you guys any good? Let's take a look.
They're kicking tires on a lot of these guys, right? There's been times when Gilbert's looked like, okay, he can be a 6-7. There's been times when you're like, Pahal's a decent 6. There's been times when Hanley and Dallas this year looked like a top 6 defenseman in the NHL, but they haven't proven to be able to do that over the course of a full season. None of these guys.
No. And I would argue that
Miromanov's the same. Like, it's 29 games in 3 years. Like, they're just playing the shit out of him to see what he is.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's any one of these guys that he's going to come to camp next year, and he's going to move somebody down the roster. He's going to absolutely grab a hold of a spot. And
even Shillington guys, like, I'm sorry, are we sure he's a top 4 defenseman?
What's happened with you and Shillington?
Well, I'm just saying, like, the only time
you've got Miromanov and Shillington almost in the same.
I don't.
Well,
but if Shillington Miromanov was your third pair, that would be slotted. Like, if you haven't traded the defenseman Hanifin and Tanev, that's what they are. Right? That's
you
your
realize you have to play 41 games on the road too.
I don't love those two together. I'm not saying that's a tandem I want, but my point is that Shillington is not absolutely locked in as a second pair defenseman in this league. He's only done it with Chris Tanev.
Ryan, why do you hate Oliver Shillington?
Don't hate him at all. I just want to know what he is.
All right.
Like, there's a lot of tools there. You like it. He skates really well, but
toolsy?
Yeah, they got lots of them. He and Miromanov, toolsy.
Okay.
It's funny. I almost think, like, if things don't go well for Tanev somewhere, whether he gets hurt or Dallas flames out early, like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they try to revisit that if his market caves a little, because they just don't have anyone else that you absolutely know is a top 4 defenseman on the whole roster. If you bring him back, boy, you feel a lot better about Shillington, don't you?
Well, yeah, I worry a little bit about whether he's going to bottom out or not. He's looked okay in Dallas. I'm watching a little bit there.
I don't give a shit if he bottoms out, and it sounds like a great thing. And of course, I'd bring in anyone if it's the perfect deal. But Tanev got moved because he's going to fall apart. The Band-Aids.
Well, and you just had to get assets.
They're not going to continue to hold that shit together.
Just beyond Tanev, we talked about the Flames not being a day one UFA team. I wonder if they might be for somebody.
They just need a defenseman that can play. Yeah,
a defenseman who can play. And
top 4 minutes.
Maybe he's a 5-6 on somebody else's team. But
you two dumbasses. You just watched a game last night. The team they played against excelling to the nth degree
in
with
the tank.
Yanni Ruda or who we talked about.
Yanni Ruda.
If we continue down this path, who's number 1 the year after? How about that kid DuPont? Let's go get that guy. Come on, Connie.
Well, he's
like 25, he's 26, 27. What year is he?
But I understand what you're saying. The point you make is
and that is honestly, I really wonder how competitive they make this roster. Because you could come back with this scrap heap of waiver defensemen and be awful. And you could also throw another, UFA guy that's maybe out of favor in the market on day 3 or 4 and say, you know what, here's a 2-year deal, a little more than you're probably worth because we just need someone to soak up minutes.
I honestly, and I'm sorry, I'm Debbie Downer maybe, but I would hate for them to go out in free agency and get just good enough.
They would, yeah. And I just think they're so far from being an NHL blue line. Even one guy wouldn't, oh, well, now that's a good blue line. No.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's one guy
Yes,
that has some NHL experience.
And what for? Why risk it?
So you don't have to watch a Hochuk and Pahal.
If you're going to be horseshit, you're going to be horseshit. What are we talking about? Play a kid.
I wouldn't do it. I think they will. That's what I'm saying. I think they will sign a veteran defenseman to play in the top 4.
I'm a little outly today.
Then what? Okay, Rhett, but how about this? They'll sign a veteran guy, and by veteran, let's just even say a guy that's, regardless of age, has some legit 300, 400, 500 games NHL experience.
Let's say like a Zach Bogosian type or something like that.
He's you love that name.
75 years old.
He's less clunky and old is what I'm thinking. Just somebody. But then you might be able to spin him for something. You're essentially buying a draft.
I don't mind that idea. If you're telling me you're going to short, I think
this is the guy on Matt Dumba, maybe, right?
Going into the playoffs, you can
Matt Dumba, 1-year deal, pump and dump.
Yeah, there's something
like that.
Yeah, they got all kinds of friggin' salary. I'll tell you what I don't want them doing is spending draft picks to get guys. 100%. Spend a whole bunch. Spend your salary cap because you're gonna have plenty of it. Don't no more.
Unless you're getting a young player that's fallen out of favor. Do not go spending those picks on
Hochuk for a 5th. That's enough of this.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.